to another episode. Today with me we have Minister Joe Mettle. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing?
Great.
How was your flight?
Flight was good. I got a surprise pulled on me, but it was good.
How was the surprise?
Because they didn't tell me I was going to be on the boat and all that.
Oh,
So
how was
I
the
was
ride
like-
here?
I think the moment we got to the airport, we drove, my head were driving. Then we got to the port. I was like, what's happening? They said, we didn't want you to know they're supposed to cross this one.
Yeah.
But it was a joyride. We liked
Awesome,
it. Yeah.
awesome. So how many cities have you been to?
Since I've
before
been
coming
here.
Yeah.
Oh no, before coming here.
Yeah.
I was in the US.
Okay.
So if I had to count those ones,
Yeah.
is that what you mean?
Yes.
Quite a number, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I was staying in Delaware. I went to DMV, which would be Maryland, Virginia, then DC, then Florida, then I can't even remember some of them, but a few. And then I had to come to Ghana, then fly from Ghana to Sierra Leone.
Awesome. So can you tell us, how do you stay grounded as a worship leader?
I think more or less knowing the fact that you are who you are because of grace. You're who you are because your work is an assignment from God, and I'm not separated from my assignment.
Yes.
And so once I am separated from my assignment, it makes me lose God's grace. It makes me lose God's protection. It makes me lose God's favor. It makes me lose literally everything. And I am one of those that believe that God created me to do what I'm doing, or worship Him. And so my worship to God is connected to my being, literally. And that's whenever I'm reminded of why I'm here, I don't stop doing it.
Yes, that's true. And sometimes as worship leaders, worship becomes a routine. Okay, you wake up, you go to church, sing the same songs, the same set. When do you know that as a worship leader, it's a routine for you and not exactly what you're called to do?
I guess it's when growth stops that you have that kind of feeling of it being a routine. It can never be a routine when you're growing. I always say to people that the depth of a man's worship is dependent on the depth of knowledge of the one they worship. And the depth of knowledge of God never ceases. You know, each day there's a new thing you discover about Him. It makes it deeper and deeper. So for me, even for me, worship is not necessarily like, okay, I'm coming to lead worship, or I come to church to do something, but it's more or less like my relationship with Him and what I get to do. And so when there's an audience, I'm good. When there's no audience, I'm still good. I can still be in my room and do it over and over and over by myself.
Yes.
You know, and so whenever I get the opportunity to add up or be with people, it's more like me bringing you to my space. It's not necessarily saying I'm leading you. So even if that's what the case is, I'm leading you to where I've been or where I normally go to. So you would say it like that you can never meet people where you've not been or the place you don't know.
Exactly.
So it has to be personally something that you do with God. It has to be like your personal relationship with Him. And so doing a service is not necessarily too much of a problem for you. There's a saying that whenever worship becomes a challenge, like where each time you have to be like, oh, again, not again, let's just do something and go, it means you have to check your relationship with God, because that's what the problem is, not the worship. You know, that's this.
And in that process of going back to God to listen, how do you know God is really speaking to you? And how do you get into your quiet place?
You just need to go back to, let me then use the word routine of what you used to do when God used to speak to you. So it's more like spending time with Him, going back, cutting off all the noise, where, you know, sometimes you get so busy, you are so busy that you don't make time for the one that has called you. There's a saying that they said, don't get too busy with the work that you forget the God of the work. You need more of the God of the work than you need the work. So sometimes, like, but I'm doing God's work. The only reason I'm busy is because I'm doing God's work. But he wants more of you and him than he wants you doing his work.
Yes.
You know, so you're more important to him than his work is. Because you see, when your relationship with him has been solidified, like the work is easy to go on. The work becomes not a work anymore. It becomes, I can't wait to even do this. You know, because by you spending so much time, there's so much is put inside of you. So you can't wait to share with the world. You can't wait to have them also experience what you've experienced. So there's no like struggle or stress about going out there and doing it.
Yeah, that is so true. And talking about experience, what is the inspiration behind the album?
Oh, the album experience. The experience during the COVID season, I had many encounters and many experiences with God. Because we didn't have the chance to go anywhere.
Yeah.
We were always indoors and all that. And prayer time, revelations, melodies, all those things. So the album was that, let me share all that I've encountered and experienced indoors with the world. And so it was my experience. So the experience is basically that. And that's actually what even influenced the set. We're like, you know what, if I do stage, lights, everything, it will take away the intimacy of the whole, because the experience was intimate. So let me also share every environment and everything as intimate as possible. So we said, you know what, let's just find a small place, a beautiful, let it look like homely, and then let's just do this there. And that's what influenced everything.
Awesome. And I noticed this time around you had different visuals, and it was something, I think it was different from you.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to do, you know, a lot of like videos this time around?
No, we always do. Actually, especially when we record live, there's always the videos. It's just that sometimes you release 1, 2, 3, and you're like, it's okay. So I have most of the other albums. I normally have all the videos there. But sometimes after a while, you're like, okay, maybe the other songs, let's rather shoot music videos instead of using the live. But this was different, and because the video in itself captures the essence of the experience, is the reason we said, you know, so every track that was recorded at that venue, there's a video for it, because we sat down, played them all through till the end. So it was actually even just yesterday, I was asking my video producer, I was like, where are the other videos? It's like, oh, it's okay, wait a bit, you know. But we intend to even release a bit more the next few weeks to come.
Okay. And how was it working with MOG Music?
Oh, it was cool. I mean, me and MOG, we go way back. We've been friends for years. Like, how do I put it? Not just in like, we all started at an early stage. He used to do BGV for another artist, who then happens to be more like the younger brother of a sort to my mentor then. So I used to see most of them. So we've been friends since maybe 12, 13 years. So we've known each other. So it's not a work. It's like, bro, I guess something, if you can
Awesome.
that's it.
Because I see the connection when you guys perform together. Even at the wedding, Nadra Mukanchianko's wedding.
Oh, okay.
So I saw the live performance, and you could tell it was, there's a flow.
True.
Awesome. And one more question before we go.
No problem.
What advice do you have for worship leaders that feel inadequate?
I would say keep the source. Make sure that you keep the source. The source is the reason we do what we do. If the source is broken or the source is disconnected, everything else will be meaningless. Sometimes we get to a point where we behave like we are too experienced to need the source. But how then would you do somebody's work of a sense, for the better lack of words? I sent you to do something for me, and then you decide that we now have experienced too much in how to do it, you don't need me anymore. What it means is you're almost like you're already done.
Yes.
So, and I'll say that again, one statement that, I picked up from Miles Monroe that has been a great blessing to my life is that the only guarantee to the constant flow of your resources, which includes what you do, your flow, everything else, is dependent on the connection or constant connection to your source of the resource. So if I intend for that resource to keep flowing for me, I intend for the favor to keep going, I intend to be still working under the anointing of God and doing all those things. I cannot cut God off ever.
Exactly.
I cannot ever get to a place where I'm too experienced, because each time God is doing a new thing. So if you still keep using this, putting this new wine that God sometimes keep giving you in an old wine skin, there's going to be problems. Because at times, this is the path that you always go, but this time He intends that, okay, no, go here. But because you're also too experienced to have been used to that same routine and you keep going, meanwhile He had changed things, because the thing is, the ways of God can differ, and so sometimes He would say, go here or go there, and so if you are not listening, or if you're not following His path and you're doing your own thing, over time you'd realize you're just walking in a path that God has changed a long time ago. So my short but sounding long advice would be, make sure that you're always connected to the source. Don't get too experienced to deviate from your connection, and see what God will do. He's never done with you. He's probably just starting with you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate making time for us.
Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
You heard it from him. Stay connected.